What up? What up? All right, so in this video, we're going to talk about bad ads. Okay, what do I mean by bad ads? Bad ads. All right, so everywhere that you can advertise may not be a good idea to do so. Um, Sometimes you might hear the thinking that especially when you're like beginning to advertise, or really you want to just try to go out and get as much kind of traffic that you can get, and all the traffic or reach that you can get is good reach. And why there is definitely a lot of truth to that, um, you do have to consider the risk with advertising to customers on certain platforms, and just if that risk is to your liking or not to your liking. So here's what I mean. There's a big cost, and you want to avoid that risk if you can, right? So let's talk about just bad ads, and three kind of three tips or three things to think about. So number one, does it cost too much? And I know that's overly obvious or overly simplistic, but you just gotta overly you just have to consider, do the long term, um, does the cost match up with the long term effect? So like if you're gonna be advertising on this platform, but you're not going to make any money because the customers you bring in, their long term value isn't going to match up with how much it costs to take them on. It's not going to make a lot of sense for you, right? So it's not going to make sense to go out and learn and advertise on a specific platform, and then you get a customer, but it took so much to acquire that particular customer, and on the end, based upon your product or service or kind of your business, you can't reap that much value from them, right? So if it doesn't really make sense in terms of the cost wise, it's just something in general that you got to kind of think about, right? Now again, there should be ways on the inside that you're able to kind of optimize and extract some value from that particular customer, so that it does work out on the end, because hey, maybe it only cost you, I don't know, let's say it cost you $10 to acquire this customer, but you're gonna make, or not make, but I mean you're gonna make, but I don't want to use the word make. You're gonna produce more, so let's say $100 in value from that customer, right? That makes sense. Okay, so that makes sense in terms of your cost. But just think about that. Again, it's just something for you to consider. Reputational cost. So what do I mean by reputational cost? Really, the cost to just the company, the product, the brand. When you advertising on a specific platform, and maybe that platform is a little sketchy or a little shady, you really got to consider, is it worth it? Right? Do you want your brand, because whatever platforms that you're advertising on, you're associating yourself with them. So you got to ask yourself, is this an association that I think is valuable to me in the short term and in the long term? And if you can answer that question, then you're going to understand those reputational costs and what that might mean to your business, right? You don't want your customers, or you don't want your business to view you don't want your business to look bad, and you don't want your customers to view you in a certain light because you're advertising on a platform that might not be, like, it might not. And here's a good example, like companies who want to disassociate themselves from like racism, right? So like if you're a company who's not distancing themselves from racism, and you have a company who wants to advertise with you, but they can't do so because it's too messy. The situation doesn't look good. They go and advertise with you now to their customers. They don't look good because this platform over here is is sketchy in the racism department, right? It doesn't look good for their brand, their product, to be able to advertise on that platform, right? So again, these are just things that you just want to think about. What are like the reputational costs with associating with, a certain platform when you're advertising? Lastly is control. So control, I mean, just how much in general control do you have? With ads, with, with costs, with whatever, how much control do you have? And, rule of thumb obviously is the more control, the better. Probably in most instances. You just want control to be able to do what, not what you want to do, but you want a fair amount of control. We'll just say that. You don't want to just be, because sometimes you can just literally be, you could be kicked off a platform and without any notice, even sometimes. Because that's the case, you just kind of have to understand, what are the rules you're working with, what are the kind of controls that you have, because what you're looking for is consistency. And if you can be there one day and not be there the next, that could potentially be a problem in terms of your consistency, and being able to advertise consistently, get predictable results. So again, as you're thinking about, platforms, consider at least, what kind of control measures you have to be able to advertise on the platform. So that's it. So we got the cost. We just got the actual dollar amount. We got the reputational cost, and then we got control. So just think of that when you're talking about bad ads, and should you or should you not be advertising on a specific platform. Not all ads are good ads. Some of them are bad ads. So again, consider that. With that, we'll see you on the next video. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. Give me some feedback and tell me if you like this. Comment on this. Tell me if you think this was valuable, if you think it was useful, or if you think, I don't really know, or if you just think something else. So tell me in the comment section. But I appreciate your time today. Like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.